Get me a mic. They will not listen to you. Why? Because you're not famous and you're black. Good day, viewers. I am Andrew Robinson on documentary Jamaica, and today I'll be educating you on the history of Jamaica. In order to educate you guys on the history of Jamaica, I now have to educate you on the history of the Earth. The Earth is the third planet furthest away from the Sun, with living creatures, land, and water bodies. The Earth was first a big island known as Pangaea. How many of you are familiar with the term Pangaea? Or I should say, the continent Pangaea. Well, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the term Pangaea, and if any of you guys are familiar with Pangaea, it would be a few. Pangaea was the first continent before the massive earthquake which caused a shifting of the plates in the Earth's crust, which led us now to have 7 continents, which some countries would differentiate and say there are 6 continents. But today we're not going to really dwell on that because that's not the topic for today. Yes, but if we're supposed to talk about the creation of the earth, we then have to go back to the beginning. Adam and Eve in the garden, where they were happy, sin-free, have no needs, no want, or anything like that. Yes, we have to go right back to the beginning. I don't know how many persons will agree to this, but knowledge is a form of sin. Because after Adam and Eve ate the apple, then they gain knowledge and understanding of about things that God didn't teach them about as yet. So, in a sense, knowledge is a form of sin, or seeking knowledge is a form of sin. After Adam and Eve sinned, then God told them to be fruitful and multiply. So they are going to reproduce and, yes, multiply. So there are going to be many more humans to come. So after humans now start multiply and the population start to grow, then this is how language came in. The population start to grow and life start to get hard and things wasn't as easy as they think it could have been or what they heard their ancestors said it was. So this new generation of people now decide that since as God built earth for us and built heaven for himself, them are going to try to find a way now to go back to heaven. So here is where language come in. So these people now, you can see that they weren't that educated to know certain things because they didn't have the technology like what we have today to understand certain things. So therefore, they started building pyramids. Yes. And those are the same pyramids that are in Egypt up to this day. Yes, they started building pyramids with the intention to go to heaven. But God have other plans for them. So God didn't bother to do anything to hurt them or anything like that. He just changed their language. So each person, not each person, but each group of persons would speak a different language. And everybody was one team speaking one language, doing everything. So everybody was organized and they could flow and they could do whatever they tell each other to do and understand exactly what's supposed to be done. But after God changed the language, no, only a certain set of people understand each other. So the building of the pyramid become difficult because when a person asks for one thing, he probably get another thing because they don't understand what's going on anymore. And this have to be changed for them because they didn't understand what was going on themselves. So we can understand, say, probably was going through a hard time trying to figure out what was going on at that point. So in order to save themselves from probably killing off each other, things like that, each person that understand each other in their groups go a separate location. So as I said, at this point, the earth was one continent, Pangaea. So each person would go on each specific part of Pangaea with the intention to just live by themselves because they understand each other, not knowing the bigger plans that is yet to come. After living away from each other, each group living away from each other and different part of Pangaea, then there was a massive earthquake which caused by the shifting of the plate, because the continents which are now formed was based on a massive earthquake that shift the plate and rotate them in different angles, so that we have 7 continents today, or in some country they would say 6 continents, but we are not going to debate on that. So they shift the continents, and each group was on a particular continent. This is where races come in. Remember, now we have the black, we have the white, yes, we have the Chinese, the Japanese, and yes, so forth. The Indians, yeah, this is where it comes. So when each continent was moved to a specific climatic zone, over the years, people body starts to change. Yes, and today we can understand, like, if a white person come to Jamaica or to Africa, that person will remain white. But if you take a black man to America in a cold weather, his body will eventually take time change. He is not going to turn white, but his complexion will take time and lightening. His skin tone will become cool and so forth. And imagine that continuously happening over the years, then you would realize that the original race was black and every other race formed from black. And if you do the proper research, you will realize that everything that I'm speaking here is facts. I just compile things that I've researched. Alright, now we're going to talk about how did the Indians became the first inhabitant of Jamaica. I'm not going to say the Caribbean, because the Indian wasn't the first inhabitant of the Caribbean. And if you read properly through history, you would realize that the Indian wasn't the first inhabitant of the Caribbean, but they were indeed the first inhabitant of smaller islands like Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and Trinidad and Tobago, and some other few small islands. And we're going to explain the journey and how the Indian became the first inhabitant. Yes, and today we're going to mainly focus on Jamaica. Yes, Jamaica was discovered by Spain in 1494 by Christopher Columbus. So that means in Spain history, Jamaica was discovered in 1494. But when Christopher Columbus came to Jamaica, there were other settlers here before Christopher Columbus. So there is no way in Jamaica history we can say Jamaica was discovered in 1494. That's Spain history. It is yet to put an exact date on when Jamaica was discovered, but Jamaica was discovered in the time of the first ice age. Yes, Jamaica was discovered by the first ice age, and statistics to prove that was when the animals were fleeing Arctica. Yes, the Indians follow the animals because they want animals for food and clothing. They have no idea that the ice was melting. That's why the animal was moving. Yes, they didn't understand, but animals have basic instinct. Yes, so they'll know what to do when the time comes. If a storm is coming, the animal would sense that yes, a storm is coming, and you realize that bird will fly to nearby countries where the storm is not going to pass and things like that. So we can understand why the animal understand that yes, the ice cap is melting and they need to move. But the human didn't understand. However, they need the food and the clothing, so they follow the animals. Follow the animals down. This is from North America, so they coming down from North America, coming down to South America. While following the animals coming down, they reach the Caribbean, which is Central America. Yes, on the mainland there were other settlers on the mainland, so they couldn't stay on the mainland. So they have to continue their journey to find somewhere where they could settle and be safe without any war or any violence, and any of them have to die or things like that. So when they reach Central Caribbean, not the smaller islands as yet, here they are on the mainland, they build small canoes. And I can assure you that these canoes ain't the canoes that we see today, all nice and luxurious. No. These canoes was probably made from bamboo, like a raft with an upper part to it, probably plaster with clay or something like that. Yes, because they have ways to mix clay and other materials to get it to not leak. Yes, so it's possible that that's how they build their canoe. So it wasn't like the one that we know today. While traveling on the sea, they came up on a spot of land that suit everything that they are searching for. Have a proper defense, and you have land by the sea, you got rivers, and all the luxurious things that they would need to settle. So they decide that this is the perfect place. So some stop at Jamaica. Some think Jamaica isn't safe enough, so others continue. So that's why you have people end up to Trinidad and Tobago and so forth, because everybody didn't stay in one group and just locate to one place. So everybody just head out to sea, and when they see a land, they say, okay, then this is where I'm going to settle. So the Indians them came up on Jamaica, and some decided, okay, they're going to settle in Jamaica. And the first ice age was about 10,000 BC. So Jamaica was discovered about 10,000 BC. That's way, way, way before Christopher Columbus come to Jamaica. So there and then we can realize that whatever is being taught in the school is totally wrong. Totally wrong. We are here learning Spanish history in our school today in Jamaica. The system needs to be updated, and we start teach the students the right and proper history and stop telling them about Spanish history and other countries' history. After conducting a well-structured research, I then now think about Noah and the ark, and I start to wonder where in history would Noah and the ark family would come about, and where would they place Noah and the ark history. And I start to think about it, and there is no way in history I could see where I could fit Noah and the ark story. So which then now lead me to believe that Noah and the ark story was a dream of a king. So Noah was possibly a king. And here are the facts why I can come to the conclusion that the story of Noah and the ark was a total dream. All of us are familiar with the ship Titanic. Yes, everybody know about Titanic. The ship was sink and whatever, and the love story where they tell us you don't know how true it is, but yeah, we have survivor and the survivor say as it goes, so we then lead to believe that okay, then that's the truth. That big ship was 882 feet long. The ship was 882 feet long. Alright, Noah and the ark story is before Christ. Far, way long. Thousands of years ago. Yes. and Titanic was 1912, just a few years ago. You can look at it like that. Yeah. And at that time, the biggest ship they could manage to build was 882 feet. But in the time of Noah, where people didn't discover how to build canoes yet, Noah built an ark that was 515 feet. That's more than half the Titanic, the length of the Titanic, more than half. Yes, so at this point now, I got a lot of unanswered question because I started thinking about it, and I was like, that size ship, they didn't have tools like the tools we have today. We say, okay, then they can speed up process, they can cut down trees and so forth, things like that, basic things. So the first question I asked was, how big was Noah's family? How much person made up Noah's family? Because it couldn't have been like 20 person that made up Noah's family. And remember, the villagers didn't help Noah build the ark. It was just Noah's basic family alone, because they didn't believe in whatever Noah, the vision that Noah have, or the plan that Noah have. So right there and then now, you can see like, okay then, it's a story them I tell we. Yes, I then go on to ask another question like, what tools did he use to cut down the logs? After I think about that, I'm saying that probably wasn't hard, or that probably wasn't the hardest thing. I'm now thinking, what did Noah use to join the logs or the board or whatever they call it in that time? What did Noah use to join them together? Noah didn't have any glue. Noah didn't have any nails. And I'm sure Noah didn't have any rope. Noah didn't have any cord and refined things that we now have. So what did Noah use to join the boards or the logs together that they become so sealed that it couldn't leak? Or them basic thing there, like, just imagine a boat right now to the day with all the technology that we have still leaking. What did Noah use to seal this ark that for over a year it stays safe and it did not leak and it did not sink and it was loaded with animals and people? Alright then, I look past the part where, okay then, Noah get these animals organized to go on this ship. On this ark. So Noah get these animals organized. Alright, I'm gonna say, alright, God give Noah the power to make these animals organized. So now Noah have control over the animals, and Noah get all the animals on this ark. Alright, let us say that the animals that Noah get were the babies, like the small ones that reach stage that they could survive. So it wasn't any big one, it was the smaller ones. So if it was a dog, it was a puppy. And if it was a goat, 2 kids, yeah, and things like that. And Noah get them on the ark. How did Noah feed all these animals and his family on an ark for over a year? Over a year. Today we have ships that are way bigger than Noah's ark. And if we are supposed to do this today, it still wouldn't work. Alright, I know somebody who believe and understand the Christian religion must be watching. I am a person with an open mind and willing to understand the Christian belief. If you can explain it to me so that we can understand. My mind is open, so I'm not going to judge. I'm trying to understand it. So if any Christian watching this video would like to expound on the things that I'm asking that nobody have any answer for, if they can explain it to me, yeah, I'm here to listen. But there are so many facts to show that this thing was like impossible. But they say have faith, and we blind ourselves to all the facts and said, okay, then we're going to use faith and believe that this is true. And we have lived to hear our grandparents and who lived to see who born come and see their great grandparent tell a story, and we know that all those stories are fake. There's nothing real about those stories, and this story is just a myth, just like the story that your grandparent would sit down and tell you, or your parents would read one story to you at bedtime or something like that. For the persons them that was lucky enough to have parents who do those things, it's the same thing happening here. I'm kind of being open on this. If there is a book to guide us to the true and living God, I don't think the Bible is that book. There are too much unanswered questions. There are too much things that can't be explained in the Bible for me to just say, okay, then I'm going to use faith and believe that this Bible is written by a man of God and it's guided by how we should live and how we should find our way to the true and real God. No. I'm yet to believe it, and until somebody can explain it to show me otherwise, then I'm going to hold my belief as it is right now.